Hi, this is Pre-Algebra Lesson 1-9, Divide Rational Numbers. In this lesson, we'll be able to divide rational numbers. Let's start with Explore It. The number line shows the movement of a glacier that retreats 8 meters every year. What does it mean to retreat? It means you're backing off. So glacier is backing off 8 meters every year. So as an integer, the negative integers will represent the retreating part. So position now is represented as 0 here on the number line. And position 4 years ago used to be 32 meters on the positive side of the number line. And it's slowly retreating. Why is the glacier retreating? Because of global warming. The ice is melting every year. So because the earth is getting warmer and warmer each year, glaciers get lower and lower and it retreats. So position 4 years from now would be expected to be 32 meters before the position now. Part A, how could you use division to represent the yearly change in the glacier's position over the next 4 years? Using division, if you look at the position now versus position 4 years from now, negative 32, you can divide negative 32 into with negative 8 to get 4 equal parts. So you can write negative 32 divided by negative 8, which is equal to positive 4. Part B, how could you use division to represent the yearly change in the glacier's position over the past 4 years? So in this case, you want to find the yearly change in the glacier's position. So from the position now, compared to the position now, the change is negative. So your answer needs to be a negative number. So 32 is the whole change that we have, the amount of change we have. You can make 32 as a positive number and divide it by negative 8 to get the negative change. Part C, suppose a glacier retreated 8.25 meters every year instead of negative 8. Draw a number line to represent this movement. So starting from 0, it's retreating 8.25 meters. So you get a negative 8.25 on the first ticking point. And then another negative 25 meters away from 0, you'll get a negative 16.50. And then another 8.25 meters away from 0, you'll get a 24.75. And so on. And this is the position now. And this is another year. This is 1 year each. Okay, if the number of meters the glacier retreats each year changes, does it affect the signs of each part of the division statement in part A? So if the number of meters change from 8 to 8.25, does it change the sign here in order to represent the yearly change in the glacier's position over the next 4 years? No, because it still retreats. It doesn't mean it suddenly became greater and the glacier doesn't retreat, it actually moves forward, right? Unless the glacier gets bigger and it moves forward, it is still going to retreat and the change is going to be negative. So the answer is no. The signs of each part would not change because the glacier is still retreating. Okay, let's start the lesson now. Remember to think about how dividing rational numbers is like dividing integers. It will be very similar. Example 1. Divide a negative number by a positive rational number. Yumiko has a drip hose attached to a rain barrel for her garden. The water drains from the rain barrel at a constant rate, which means the same rate. What is the change in the volume of water after 1 minute? This is the rate for her garden. Negative 3 3/5 gallons in 6 minutes. So you want to know the change in the volume of water after 1 minute. So each minute, how does it change? Since negative 3 3/5 gallon is the change for the entire 6 minutes, you can divide this gallon into 6 equal parts to figure out how much gallon it drains in 1 minute. So you can use a number line to represent the change in the volume. You can start from 0 and represent negative 3.35 and divide it by 6 to figure out 6 equal parts, and each part will represent negative 3/5 gallons. So the change after 1 minute would be negative 3/5 gallons. To be more accurate, you can use the rules for multiplication. You can literally divide negative 3 3/5 divided by 6. You can change the mixed number into a fraction, and you can change the whole number into a fraction by adding 1 into your denominator. And 18 divided by 6/1 could be rewritten as a multiplication rule. Negative 18/5 times 1/6, which is the reciprocal of 6/1, is equivalent to this division equation. These are called multiplicative inverses or reciprocals. By multiplying 18 times 1 and 5 times 6, you get negative 18/30, which is simplified into negative 3/5. So the change in the volume of water after 1 minute is negative 3/5 gallons. So the rules generally don't change, but you can extend what you know about multiplying rational numbers and dividing integers to division of rational numbers. Now it's your turn. Let's look at this triad question and see if you can solve it by yourself. Suppose that the volume of water in the rain barrel decreased by 4 5/8 gallons in 4 minutes. What will be the change in the volume of water after 1 minute? Think about it, solve it, and come back when you're ready for answer. Okay, are we ready? So what are we doing? The rain barrel is decreasing 4 5/8 gallons in 4 minutes, but it's the same problem. So in order to figure out how many gallons it changes in 1 minute, we want to divide this gallon in 4 same increment. So this mixed number needs to be changed into a fraction. 4 5/8 would be, in fraction, 37/8. And negative 37/8 divided by 4/1 could be rewritten as a multiplication fact. Negative 37/8 times the reciprocal of 4/1 is 1/4. By multiplying the numerators and denominators, we get negative 37 over 32. Or if we change that into a mixed number, we get negative 1 and 5 over 32. So the rain barrel will lose 1 and 5 over 32 gallons in 1 minute. How are multiplicative inverses used in division with rational numbers? So how are the reciprocals used in rational numbers? They're very important because when we're dividing rational numbers, we can use the multiplicative inverses, aka the reciprocals, to change the division equation into a multiplication equation. In other words, to divide two rational numbers, regardless of their signs, you can multiply the dividend by the multiplicative inverse of the divisor. This is a good tip that you need to remember. Alright, example 2. Divide a positive number by a negative rational number. A complex fraction has a fraction in the numerator and the denominator, or both. So look at this complex fraction. It has a mixed number on the numerator and another fraction in the denominator. It looks very complicated. But knowing that a fraction bar essentially means divide, you can change this into a division equation. 3 and 2 over 3 divided by negative 2 over 3 would be equivalent to this complex fraction. So changing the mixed number into a fraction and changing the division equation into a multiplication by using the reciprocal of negative 2 over 3, we can multiply 11 and negative 3 and 3 and 2 in order to get negative 33 over 6. And that gives you negative 11 over 2, which then could be written as a mixed number, negative 5 and 1/2. So if you follow the steps one by one using the knowledge that you have for the multiplication and division, you'll be able to solve a complex fraction as well. So now it's your turn again. Let's look at this triad and find each quotient. See if you can solve this by yourself. Come back when you're ready for answers. Okay, are you ready? Part A, it's a complex fraction. You can first change the mixed number into a fraction and write the division separately and follow these steps. You can change the division into a multiplication by using the reciprocal. And if you follow the correct steps, you should finally get a negative 7 as an answer. If you got that correct, great job. Part B, you should get negative 1.6. And part C, you should get negative 1 and 1 over 6. If you wrote 7 over 6, that's also fine. Part D, you should get negative 0.6. Please check your answer. If you got any of those wrong, please go back and try again. But if you got everything right, good for you. Example 3. Divide rational numbers with the same sign. The location of a submarine changes by negative 0.06 kilometer each minute. How much time does it take to get to the sea bottom? You know that the sea bottom from the picture is negative 3 over 4 kilometers. So you can divide negative 3 over 4 by negative 0.06 to see how many minutes it takes for the submarine to get to the sea bottom. You can change the fraction into a decimal or the decimal into a fraction. In this case, we change the fraction to a decimal. Negative 0.75 divided by negative 0.06 is equal to 12.5. So it takes 12.5 minutes to reach the C bottom. So in these word problems, it is crucial for you to know what number to divide by what number and write the equation statement by yourself. Otherwise, let's practice finding the quotient. These are the last Triad questions. Please work on it and come back when you're ready for answer. Okay, are you ready to check answers? Part A, you will change the mixed number. Let me write the step for part A. The mixed number into a fraction. Negative 4/3 divided by negative 1.6. And you can change that fraction into a decimal. Actually, because that's a repeated decimal, let's change the decimal into a fraction. Divided by negative 16/10, or 8/5. And you can change that into a multiplication rule by using the reciprocal. You can multiply negative 5/8 instead. And you will get a negative 4 times negative 5, which is a positive 20. Divided by 3 times 8 is a positive 24. So when you simplify, you will get 5/6. Okay, in the same way, the answer to this complex fraction is 2 and 2/3. Part C should simply be 3. Part D should be 2 and 1/6. If you got all of them correct, good job. Let's wrap up this lesson. So remember that the same rules for dividing integers apply to dividing rational numbers. When dividing two rational numbers, you need to remember that if the signs of the dividend and the divisor, so if you forgot what dividend and divisor are, dividend is the number that is being divided. Divisor is the number that divides, and the answer is the quotient. Dividend and the divisor, if the signs are the same, the quotient is positive. So plus divided by a plus is equal to a plus. Negative divided by a negative is also a plus. If the signs of the dividend and divisor are different, the quotient is negative. So plus divided by a negative is equal to a negative. Negative divided by a plus is equal to a negative. And that applies for multiplication as well. That was lesson 9, dividing rational numbers. If you have any more questions, please ask Ms. King in class. We'll continue with our last lesson of the topic, solving problems with rational numbers, in the next video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.